A rotator cuff injury after coming off the rib and lung injuries that we did know about. On the flip side, Aaron Rodgers had some luck against the Rams, facing a banged-up Aaron Donald, no Cooper Kupp, and Jared Goff playing with a broken thumb on his throwing hand since backup quarterback John Wolford was ruled out. So, Shannon, who benefited more from their opponents' injuries last weekend, the Bucs or the Packers?
Brady. Because Brady played against a guy that couldn't throw the ball down the field, and on top of not being able to throw the ball down the field, he played terrible when throwing the ball short. So I don't really... Brees turned the ball over 3 times. Drew Brees and the Saints handed Tom Brady the great field position that they got, in which they got their touchdown, Skip. There's no question about that. Latavius Murray didn't play. Ty Montgomery wasn't supposed to get any carries. Latavius Murray was supposed to get those carries from Alvin Kamara. Ty Montgomery played. Now, I'm trying to...
Did Alvin Kamara play?
Hold on, time out.
I'm just wondering.
No.
I can't remember. Oh, he did. I think he did.
Then I could have sworn you said it was me, and I ain't even asking you a question.
Huh.
You say you asked me. No, you asked me. I was just responding. I didn't ask you anything.
Latavius Murray?
I'm just trying to figure out how Michael Thomas goes from catching 149, 150-plus balls to all of a sudden he can't get open. Oh, the man got to have surgery on his ankle in 2 different locations. He missed the majority of the season with a high ankle sprain. He's been in and out of the lineup. Well, no, let's not even talk. Hendrickson, who led the team in sacks, played 29 snaps. Clearly, he was not himself. He's to them what Aaron Donald. Now, I'm not saying he's the equivalent player, but to that defense, he's the guy that you got to double team. He's the guy that gets consistent pressure. He was able to generate no pressure. So for me, it's not even close. And Brady didn't have to play. The defense was unbelievable, Skip. So this notion, now, the thing that I do hate, I hate that Drew's wife brought up, because you didn't bring up any of these things when he was playing well. And see, that's the problem that I have. Don't do that. Don't do that. You lost. Hey, move on. But if you don't say he's injured and had rotator cuff and foot injuries when he's out there throwing all these touchdowns, don't do that now. So with that being said, I still believe Brady benefited the most.
Okay, I'm going to give you, this is close, but I believe that Rodgers benefited slightly more, because what is now Pro Football Focus, everybody's, the runaway defensive player of the year was who?
Aaron Donald.
Like runaway. Greatest, a lot of people are going, Troy Aikman went all the way to greatest ever. Greatest defensive player ever.
I'm not going there, Skip.
Okay, so I made the mistake of listening to Aaron Donald the week before last Sunday's game, and he had banged up ribs, and he said, I feel fine, I'm going to be just fine, I will play. And he did play.
But not to the level you used to see.
55% of the snaps. He usually plays 85% of the snaps, and he was given the right to take himself out of the game, and he took himself out of 30% of the snaps. That wasn't a coaching decision. That was Aaron Donald's decision.
Okay.
In the game, he registered a grand total of 1 assisted tackle. No solo tackles, no tackles for losses, 1 assisted tackle, and they gave him 1 quote-unquote pressure, in which he reached out and grabbed a handful as he ran past Aaron Rodgers' jersey. Grabbed a handful, and Aaron just scooted right out from under it and threw it 33 yards to Robert Tonyan for a big completion in the game. So that quote-unquote pressure didn't seem to bother Aaron Rodgers a bit. So as I told you yesterday and the day before, I had 99 problems in that game because number 99 was nowhere to be seen. And Aaron Rodgers' first quote after the game was, I was barely touched.
Right.
Well, not only was there no Aaron Donald in the game, but the spirit of the line was lost because they sort of go as he goes. He sets the tone. And clearly, even without Bakhtiari, the best left tackle in football, the best pass blocker in football, they just handled the line all day long, the Rams line, and there are others who can rush the passer, obviously.
You forgot about Brockers and Joseph Day and Leonard Floyd.
And they were nowhere to be found. And it seemed like they couldn't feed off any momentum that usually gets started by Aaron Donald. It always starts with Aaron Donald and finishes with other sacks.
And guess what, Skip? Rodgers still had to face Jay Ram. Who's an all-pro corner. So tell me that...
I thought he got exposed in that game.
No, he gave the touchdown to Adams, and that happens. And get ready. Dude ran a great route. That's a hard route to guard because the guy runs what we call a disco route. Skip comes and he goes back and he takes off, and he has to navigate through the linebackers and everything to snap the ball. They step it up because they think it might be play action, and Aaron Rodgers whips
and
into it.
What did Jalen Ramsey do the second he stepped across the goal line? Devontae stepped across the goal line. He wheeled and pointed to some backup, like nickel corner.
Yeah,
where are you? It's your fault.
First of all, if you discuss that in the game, when he comes in motion like that, you kick out, I'll come replace you, okay, fine. But if you don't discuss that, if that's not the game plan, you can't wait until you get in the game to get him. That's not how it works.
Okay, so Drew Brees obviously was somewhat limited. I don't know how much he was hampered by a torn rotator cuff, but I got to tell you, if you look at his year, it was still pretty great.
Yeah.
Because he was 6th in QBR. He was barely second to Aaron Rodgers in completion percentage at 71%. So if you got a torn rotator cuff, I don't know, you're still throwing a lot of accurate balls.
Well, he was, Skipper, but he's not pushing the ball down the field, and that was the biggest thing. But Skipper, if you look at Jared Goff was 21 of 27.
For a grand total of 174 yards.
That was 40 more yards than what Drew Brees has, minus the 3 interceptions.
Jared Goff was sacked 4 times, and for the first time in his career, he had to wear a glove on his right hand. So I don't know how comfortable he was with that, because he just recently had 3 pins put in his throwing thumb.
Yeah.
And that's pretty hard to do.
I thought Drew Brees was throwing where the catchers went. Did you see those interceptions that he threw?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, we could attribute a lot of that to the Tampa Bay defense.
Oh,
right?
But you don't want to attribute anything to the Green Bay's defense.
So what did we see at the end of the year from the Rams quarterback situation? We saw somebody named John Wolford look pretty good against Arizona. He went 22 of 38 for 231, but he ran it 6 times for 56 yards. So he can run it a little bit, and he is more of a threat in that department than Jared Goff. And then what happened against Seattle in the first playoff game? He's 3 for 6, and he gets banged in the head, and his concussion is so bad, he has to miss the Green Bay game. Yeah. So unlike what we think is about to happen with Patrick Mahomes, it sounds like John Wolford could not get through the protocol to get to the next playoff game.
Even though being said, Skip, Aaron Rodgers had to play really, really well. He had to execute at a high level. Because the Rams, even though you say all these injuries, they were still right there in the ball game till about 5 minutes and 13 seconds until Aaron Rodgers hit Lazard for that long touchdown that really broke the game open. So for all this about they were so bad, they were right there in the ball game until the very end.
Well, maybe that says something about how vulnerable Green Bay actually is, because they beat a grand total of 2 teams with a winning record. So
you only beat 1.
Yeah, but we're starting completely over with a brand new quarterback.
So why is it that when you beat one team that made the playoffs, Green Bay beat a few, you talk about, well, they didn't do anything.
We were the 5th seed. You're the 1 seed.
Well, you could have been the 1 seed. You know, you play 16 games. Both teams got an opportunity to play 16 games. If you won more than you lost, there's a great chance you'd have been the 1 seed. But you didn't.
Okay, so I concede that Michael Thomas a year ago was really good. In fact, he was the offensive player of the year.
Last year.
Yeah, last year's offensive player of the year.
Yes.
And I will concede that he was thrown 4 balls on Sunday and caught none of them, and it could be in large part because he needed ankle surgery.
Well, Skip, you know what? Let me tell you something. I'm one of the foremost authorities on ankle. Because for the better part of 2.5 years, I shot my ankles up every single Sunday and played. Okay. It's like you're running on hot nails. Okay. It's hard to get open. But nobody wants to hear about that. The fans didn't know. There are a handful of people that knew. A couple of the coaches knew, and a lot of my teammates, because they would walk by the room and they see the doctor pulling that long needle out of both of my ankles. But I was still going out there having to compete. It didn't matter, like I said, and that's what I say, Skip. When a guy, he's injured, he banged up, you get your butt on the field, you're responsible for that product. Just like a grocery store, they're responsible for what they sell in that store. I'm responsible for the play that I put on that field. Healthy, injured, whatever it is. When 8-4 and 8-2 stepped on the field, I was responsible for that. So that's what it is. What it is.
Okay, I'm not considered an expert on knees, but I've had 3 knee surgeries, and I still run 8 miles a day, 5 days a week. So I don't know how I do this, but I got through it somehow. So I get how bad knees can be. And as Howard Cosell once said, The knee, it's always the knee. That's the one that stops you. So, do you know who Cooper Kupp is for the
Yes.
Rams? Okay. All he was Jared Goff's favorite receiver.
Yeah.
And has been for quite a while. He is his security blanket. He caught the most balls for the Rams this year, for the most yards this year for the Rams. Cooper Kupp hurt his knee in the final, in the Seattle game, the first playoff game.
Like the final drive. I think it was the final drive.
And he limped off the field into the sunset, not to be seen again because he was not able to dress at Green Bay. So at least Michael Thomas, who is to Drew Brees what Cooper Kupp is to Jared Goff. I got that. And I'm not saying that Cooper Kupp is better than Michael Thomas. I just think in Jared Goff's head that he trusts Cooper Kupp as much as Drew Brees trusts and leans on Michael Thomas. So if you take Cooper Kupp completely out of the game, he didn't even dress for the game. At least Michael Thomas could be a decoy in the game.
But basically that's what he was, and he ended up getting picked, Skip. And the report says the only reason that Michael Thomas played because he thought this was Drew's last time, and he wanted to go out there with him and possibly help him get a championship.
Okay.
That's the only reason that he played.
Okay, but again, Cooper Kupp didn't even dress. So how do you think that worked on Jared Goff?